Good morning, everybody. About 8:30, December 23rd. What you're looking at is the last little bit of body that I need to strip. And when I say last little bit, that's kind of an understatement because there's a lot of nooks and crannies and areas in here that are going to be painful. So especially up around these dash supports and up underneath shouldn't be horribly bad, but just in the general area, it's all going to kind of be painful. But first, I'm going to mix up some fiberglass filler and get it on the spots that need it for the paint that I did last week. So I got to get that on there. I'm on, today is day 6 of the epoxy primer 7-day window. So I'll get the plug welds covered in fiberglass filler and then get to cleaning. All right, got the Bondo glass, it's called. Short strand fiberglass filler. This is what I use. I pointed this out before, but this is what I use in the plug welds and the weld repairs and stuff that I've done. Mixes up just like regular old filler, but you can kind of see it's a little bit more clingy, I guess you can say, with all the little pieces of fiberglass that's in there. But it's the same kind of mix ratios, and the hardener different color, but its consistency is about the same. Not going to mix up enough to do everything I want to do, just because it cures, and I'll probably run out of time. So we get that little bit there. A little bit of hardener. Mix it up. Alright, take that, go get the car. Fiberglass filler in all the little spots. Lots of them, obviously. I'm just going to leave that be for now, let that cure up, and start getting to work here on this frontal area. Can't wait. Getting there, slowly but surely. Like I thought, it's a real pain in the ass. Also, I didn't realize how bad of welding I did down here, putting the floor on. I mean, that's just horrible. So I'll be cleaning those up. I think the problem I was having with that was getting all of the weld-through primer out of there. A lot of dings and dents in here. This is interesting here. Big hard crease. That's from the factory, I'm sure, forming the metal. But no surprises. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned with is in this area under here, underneath this is like the backside of where the heater fan is. The grates are for the suction of that. So any water and everything that may have gotten in here would collect here. There's like a little flapper that goes there. So that's pretty rusty, but it doesn't look like there's any spots that it's damaged on. So yeah, still going. It's about 10 o'clock, it's slow going. All right, it's coming along, not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still not the most asbestos thing I've ever done. I got this citrus stripping gel. I'm going to try that, especially up and around in here where it's really hard to get anything in there. I use this stuff as a little test point on one of the rear wings. It works. It's not the best, but hopefully it'll help me get this. I had all this black spray paint that I put down, black primer spray paint, when I first bought the car, trying to clean up that area a little bit. Obviously a lot of pitting and everything there. I'll fill all that in with filler. But I'm going to paint that on there and let that sit for a little while in all the spots that are kind of hard to get to, and then come back and see if it was effective or not. So quite frankly, I didn't think this stuff would work, but it is. So I put some in there, took all that out. Now that was that weld-through primer, which doesn't have really that great adhesion anyway. But this black stuff, that's starting to come off pretty well, which I was more concerned with than the red. So just to prevent any mistakes, I'm going to go ahead and tape over the holes that I've got here so that I don't drip this stuff down onto the interior of the car. I'm not sure that the epoxy would hold up to this stuff or not. I don't want to take that chance. So I'm going to go ahead and tape everything off, all the holes, and then I'm going to put this stuff on here and let it sit. It's working all right. Got the rest of the citrus stripper on there in the spots that I need it. It's starting to lift up the paint already, but I'm going to let it sit. It says 30 minutes, so I'm going to let it sit for a little while here. And pretty much everywhere where you see paint, I put it on there. And then I'll just go through with a scraper and a wire brush and the greenie and or the red pad and everything else that I can to try to get the rest of this stuff off. And goal today is to get this in epoxy. for now, I think I'm going to switch back over while I'm waiting to the bonnet here and start working on this guy. I got weld repair that I got to do there for that little crack. Pull out the stud puller here and see how it goes. All right, well, that didn't go too bad. Pulled out up in here like I had mentioned in my last video that I'd look at doing that. There's still a lot of pock marks in there. I'm not going to really be able to do anything about those, I don't think. The next object there will be to get a weld metal over top of this stuff and grind that kind of smooth and hopefully get that rolled edge back out of it. The only thing I'm afraid of is that this is real thin metal in here. I'm just going to start blowing through all over the place. So hopefully that doesn't happen because I really don't want to put a patch in there. But my stripper stuff over there should be dry, so I'm going to get to work on making a mess over there. So I got a close-up here of this spot. Really all I've got in here is the red paint and a little bit of the black primer that I had sprayed. If you look up here, you can see hopefully anyway that it's really wrinkled. That's the gray weld primer, so I expect that stuff to come right off. And then otherwise it's just a bunch of black primer and red paint. The red paint is relatively good on there because it's, you know, automotive stuff, but we'll see here. I'll get this scraped off. Just going to use a metal scraper and a bunch of paper towels. Alright, well, it's working all right for me. I'll just zoom out here and keep going. My intention will be to get most of this stuff off and then hit it with some power tool stuff. Kind of finish it up. That's about as stripped as I'm going to get it. It's definitely not perfect. Quite a bit of pitting and everything up here. Also, there was a little one of these wire guys, the tabby things, sitting right here that finally broke just from moving it around to try to get around it. But again, with all this rusting and everything that's in here, it doesn't really surprise me. Another thing now that I need to worry about that I didn't necessarily consider is neutralizing the acid from the citrus. So it will eat the epoxy. I had a little bit get up in here and it did take that out. So I gotta take care of that and try to neutralize all this stuff because the epoxy is just not going to go down properly. So I may have to reach out to SBI, the paint guys, and make sure. So I may not get epoxy primer on here today, but I got some baking soda. I'm going to go down that route. But for now, I am going to go ahead and take care of all the little weld spots that I need to take care of. I showed you some of those, clean up a little bit, get some of this heavier dirt out of here, and go down that path for now. All right, about 3 o'clock, I'm calling it a day. Obviously, I'm going to have to come back over here and get this thing painted. But like I had mentioned, I used the stripper on there, and I want to check with Southern Polyurethanes for them to make sure that I've done adequate job using baking soda to neutralize it and wipe it down several times with just plain water, and then the wax and grease remover. I don't see any residue anywhere or anything like that, so I'm hoping I've gotten everything and that it's adequately neutralized, something I didn't really consider. I should have considered that before I stripped it that way, but it did work. It was effective, so there you go. I'll get back at it hopefully here in the next couple days or so and get this thing painted up. Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas. Hope everybody got what they wanted from Santa Claus. It's about 11:15 or so on the 26th, and I'm over here to get this front area painted. So I did a lot of prep work. I used the citrus acid, clean stuff and all that. And I've neutralized that with baking soda. I'm going to hit it with wax and grease remover at least once, if not 2 more times. Pretty much the final result of the guys at SPI said I should be fine with that. They recommended a solvent-based wax and grease remover. I don't have any, so just a couple extra shots with the water-based stuff, they say, and I should be good. So I don't really expect it to be too difficult. I'm a little worried about getting into the battery box entirely there, especially in this back corner and everything. But otherwise, I think the painting is going to be pretty straightforward. I am going to mask off some certain areas, not too drastic. Just I don't want to touch where I've hit the Raptor liner, obviously, and I'm going to tape off in the tunnel area. But otherwise, get everything taped, all the holes through the firewall, get all of them taped off, and then get the spraying. I've got the paint already is inducing, and that's really the only thing I'm over here for today is to get this in 2 wet coats of epoxy primer. Wax and grease remover needs to get applied, but otherwise it is taped off and masked off. I'm not going to tape anything else. I'm not really concerned with overspray that much. I just was more concerned with protecting the Raptor liner, and because I would be coming across here with the gun, I figured I'd put a lot of overspray down inside the tunnel. And again, it probably doesn't matter at all, but I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to clean it up and get it dried off and get to painting. Alright, paint gun's all set up, ready to go. Again, I'm most concerned with the battery box area. I think I'm going to hit underneath first, get that vertical section here, and then kind of work my way down, having to shoot from the sides to get in between all the nooks and crannies. We'll see how it goes. I don't expect a miracle here, but I need to get this covered, so we'll see. Two wet coats. Came out pretty good. Happy with the coverage I got. Like I had mentioned, I was worried about the battery box, and except for maybe that little corner right there, I was able to get in there completely. Not, you know, it's not going to ever see there's going to be a big battery in there. Obviously, you can see all the pitting and everything from the rust and all that kind of stuff. A lot of body work to do up here. But for the first time in forever, the body is covered in epoxy primer. So with the exception of the underneath of the bonnet, everything's been hit in at least one coat. So there we go. Alright everybody, that's it for me for today. Short little visit. Just wanted to get those 2 coats of epoxy primer on there, and that's done. So now the rest of the work will be involved with all body work and filler work and all that other kind of stuff, hammer and dolly work. Got a lot of work yet to do on the bonnet. And on that body, it's just there's stuff all over the place. So I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Have a good New Year. That'll be it for me until after the first of the year. So I'll see you in about a week or so. Have a good one. Cheers.